Also, more story that is coming in at this point is how Union Minister Mahesh Sharma has made a remark that is potentially going to damage India's image at the global platform. Union Tourism Minister Mahesh Sharma has said, responding to questions from the media, advising tourists not to wear skirts and refraining from going out alone at night in small towns. He said that tourists are given kits that have detail of do's and don'ts while they are in India. Tourists have also been advised to take a picture of the registration number of the vehicle they used and send it to a friend. Now, his comments of asking tourists to refrain to wearing short skirts and dresses has raked up controversy. Take a listen to what he said.
पर्यटकों को जब वो एयरपोर्ट पर आते हैं उनको एक वेलकम किट दी जा रही है। एक कार्ड है उसमें कि जिसमें डूज एंड डोंट्स, क्या करें और क्या ना करें। जैसे छोटी छोटी बातें हमने उन्हें बताया कि भाई आप छोटी जगहों पर रात के टाइम अकेले ना निकलें, स्कर्ट्स पे ना पहने। दूसरा हमने उन्हें बताया कि आप जिस गाड़ी में बैठें उस गाड़ी की नंबर प्लेट का फोटो ले लें और अपने एक रिमोट अपने किसी दोस्त को किसी को उसको फॉरवर्ड कर दें।
Well, Brajesh Pandey is joining us on the story now. Brajesh, even as the intent is to ensure safety of tourists, but it's doing more damage to India's image because law and order is state and centre's responsibility. But here's another alternative that the Union Minister has suggested, that tourists should not wear skirts or dresses.
Well, I think, it looks like an extension of what we've been hearing in most of the rape cases, that, that she was wearing a particular kind of clothes. That's why she literally invited it upon herself. And it's extremely regressive in the sense that the minister is there to ensure safety of tourists. Agra is not a place where, it has been receiving tourists for several years now, hosting Taj Mahal, which is one of the wonders of the world. And so instead of improving the infrastructure, instead of improving the law and order, if the minister is suggesting that, that the women tourists, they should not wear small skirts, or they should, make sure that they do not venture out late at night, it speaks poorly of the law and order situation of the state. And instead of strengthening the law and order and the response mechanism of the law and order situation, the minister is instead putting all the onus on the tourists rather than on the state as well as the centre itself.
Well, but Brajesh, here's also another question. Now, these kind of comments, when it comes from a union minister, as you rightly said, reflects the mindset of how we are treating women here. And it's on a global platform because India is trying to emerge as a top tourist destination. In Goa also we've seen similar kind of controversies with tourists flocking there in smaller towns where we're trying to promote Indian spots as tourism. Is this how a union tourism minister should be making a statement?
Well, I think, Dr. Mahesh Sharma is unfortunately getting into the habit of creating controversies. This is not the first time he has quoted controversy, and, his statement doesn't augur well for the tourism industry because, tourism is world's second largest industry, and India has a very bare minimum participation in it despite given its rich cultural diversity. And, law and order and the lack of understanding of other culture is being seen as one of the main reasons behind this. And this particular comment made by none other than Culture Minister or Tourism Minister of India, shows everybody in a very poor light. Instead of putting the onus on the women tourists and other people, they should have made sure that that law and order of the adjoining areas in the smaller towns which are near the Agra and specifically near Taj Mahal, that should have been romped up. So instead of being proactive about it, he's just simply putting the onus on the women tourists who visit Taj Mahal, and which will definitely not go down well with the image of the India. Devina?
Brajesh, thanks for joining us. Moving on to the other big story, even as the controversy over tourism minister's fresh proposal continues in Chennai. This is a news coming in that how there's been a shocking case of revenge killing, and a 4-year-old child was found with his throat slit in Cuddalore in Chennai. Investigation into the killing has revealed a sinister plot. The toddler was allegedly killed by his neighbor Parmeshwari, who was miffed with Nitish's father for informing her husband, who resides in Singapore, about her illicit affair. Parmeshwari was forced to end her affair and her lover, which had her fuming. On Saturday, Parmeshwari found Nitesh playing alone in his home, took him to a bathroom behind his house and slit the poor child's throat with a blade. We have Pramod who's joining us on the story. Pramod, A horrific crime by a woman who slit a 4-year-old's throat. Now, take us through the entire sequence of events and how was the alarm finally raised?
Ravina, it is a really shocking story. It's a very tragic one since this 4-year-old kid, and he was an innocent boy and he didn't have anything to do with it. Parameshwari was allegedly having an affair with another person, and they seemed, according to police report, they were in love for nearly some time, and against their will, the family of Parameshwari got her married to another person called Rama, who was working in Singapore at that point. Apparently, Rama's relative was Mr. Murugesan, and they were neighbors with Parameshwari, and Mr. Murugesan came to know about this particular affair, and he has informed Rama about it, and for which Rama has come down especially to Kudalur. He has threatened Parameshwari, saying that if it continues, it is not good and it will have some really grave consequences, following which they had to part their ways. Now, what has happened is that Parameshwari herself is a mother to a 9-month-old baby, and she could not, according to police reports, she could not bear the depression, and she wanted to take revenge one way or the other, and that's how she ended up killing this 4-year-old child. The unfortunate thing is that...
Well, Pramod, the irony just gets bitter there. Irony just gets bitter there. Parameshwari, being a mother, had the audacity to do such a hideous crime. We're following the story very closely.